Can you ask us out in person? No more DMs, none of that. Girls love to get asked out in person. It doesn't happen anymore. Please come up to us. We're nice. The worst we're gonna say is no.
They make it sound more simple than what it really is, family. But I wholeheartedly agree though. All right, I always say it's gotta be tough trying to date in 2023 in the world of social media, okay? But I grew up before social media. There was no inboxes. So I grew up in the age of approach and I loved it. For me and my buddies, it was exhilarating, it was exciting, it was thrilling. We used to ride maybe an hour outside of the neighborhood, outside of our town, 45 minutes outside of our town to some local mall, just some public place. And we talk about how many women we were gonna try and talk to and make bets about how many numbers we could get. I understand now, looking through today's lens, that's seen as some type of misogynistic thing. But back then, it wasn't because we were degrading women. It was to incentivize us to push past our courage, all right? So if you got back in that car and you didn't have any numbers, it was likely because you didn't approach. You didn't have no game, so we was gonna shame you for it. I know that seems kind of rude to women, but this is how men sharpen each other. This is how we develop. We're not all sweet and dandelion roses like you guys are, okay? We push each other through insults and a little bit of shame, a little bit of stuff like that, family, all right? But the goal is to have your charisma on point, your charm. That smile better be kicking, you better be hygienic, you better be looking good, and you can't be scary, all right? So you gotta push past that insecureness. You gotta have confidence and courage when you step to it, or they'll notice it. You understand? And if you got told no, you gotta look at it like I did something wrong, and you go back to the drawing board and you sharpen your skills. You understand? It wasn't a day and age where women got mad at you for approaching. It wasn't a day and age where men got angry at you for saying no. No, it hurt when they told you no. But it's back to the drawing board. You be happy about the ones who did give you some attention, who did give you a number, and you move on. You call those girls and you try to schedule some type of takeout where you can get them out the house. You understand? But it was so fun. You understand? But nowadays it's a little bit different. You understand? I believe the reason women were so receptive to you walking up to them back then is because there was no social media. There was nobody in their inbox to give them their fill of compliments and attention before they left the house. You understand? And so now when men walk up to women, we're walking up to them with the same game, trying to compliment them. But listen, they already are over it. They've been told a million times they're the most beautiful woman in the world. They got men all over them. So because they're oversatiated now through these compliments and stuff, they now have another view of men. And that view is actually negative. You understand? So when you're walking up to women nowadays trying to holler at them, they treat you completely different. Get away from me. Don't come around me. So she's asking this question, why don't men do it? Well, pause. But if it's so fun and exhilarating to men to walk up to women and to do this thing, why would they stop? Honestly, your peers, ladies, have made men stop. Now, this lady, of course, is saying women love to be approached, but you can find countless other videos where they're saying, stay away from me, don't come up and talk to me, period, at all. I can't stand men. Here's an example.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot and it went fine. And I'm going to tell you why it went fine and how to address it, because it was in a book I read and this is how you're supposed to address it, but it scared me. I'm literally shaking. So this guy, I am alone with my son, by myself, a woman, and a male approached me in a parking lot. He's, excuse me, miss, and I don't know why in the hell he was approaching me or what he was trying to do. And before he was probably 30 feet from me when he said, excuse me, ma'am. And I turned around and I literally yelled at him and I said, do not approach me. And he like immediately started going in the other direction. And I just kept saying it over and over and over. I said, do not approach me. Do not approach me. And he, of course, like got like, what the F did it? Like he started cussing and yelling like, what's your problem? And I looked at him and he actually then crossed a couple cars down from my car. He didn't come anywhere near me. He crossed a couple cars down from my car and was like, continuing to cuss and say, what's your problem? And I said, you do not approach women in a parking lot. I just kept saying, do not approach me. You do not approach women in a parking lot, like yelling it. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot, ever. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. And if a male does approach you, you need to turn around and use the strongest voice that you can possibly use with them. Don't be polite. They need to literally screw off. No male should be approaching you in a parking lot.
Now, so she has a totally different opinion, right? So no male should be approaching women. Well, especially in parking lots, okay? It's a bright day. I don't know what she thinks is going to happen in this parking lot. She says, I don't know even why he was coming up to me. So she's aloof as to why a man would be trying to speak to her in a parking lot. let's run this back, okay? Because I want you guys to see something here, okay? Let's go.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot and it went fine. And I'm going to tell you why it went fine and how to address it, because it was in a book I read and this is how you're supposed to address it, but it scared me. I'm literally shaking.
So she's saying that she's shaking, but then she says it went well. I'm going to tell you why. It was from a book I read. What book was it? Men and Monsters by Dr. Susie? I don't like men on a plane. I don't like men on a train. I mean, come on now. But why is she shaking? Okay? Because she is creeping herself out. She's scaring herself. Now, maybe she's been traumatized, so maybe use some sensitivity in this, but this man approaching her has done nothing. She said the situation went good, and why is she shaking? I mean, with all due respect, it went well. This shows you that whenever you're caught up in your emotions, you believe you're right. So you'll act out of them thinking that you're right, when really there was no need to act this way. But it's going to be validated via her emotions. Because she's shaking, there was a real genuine reason she should be afraid. Yo, we got to grow past this. But let's continue.
So this guy, I am alone with my son, by myself, a woman, and a male approached me in a parking lot. He's, "Excuse me, miss," and
A parking lot. A parking lot is one of the safest places to be in broad daylight for a woman. All you have to do is say help. People will come to your rescue. It's in public. There are people around. What do you suspect this guy's going to try to do in broad daylight, ma'am? Also, your son is with you. So you are teaching your son to be afraid of men. You are teaching your son that men are dangerous. Do you understand? That your son is going to see men as dangerous. Let's continue.
"You miss," and I don't know why in the hell he was approaching me or what he was trying to do. And before he was probably 30 feet from me when he said,
Now he was 30 feet away. Now she says, I have no idea why he's approaching me. Notice she never asked. Notice she never even tried to see what he wanted. So I have no idea why he's approaching me. So that's reason enough for me to turn around and start yelling. 30 feet away from you? Now this is her giving her assessment on how the distance he was away. But that's a lot. If she thinks he's 30 feet away, is that a reason to panic? If he's saying, "Excuse me, ma'am," from 30 feet, isn't that an indication that he's coming in peace? Why would he speak loudly to get other people's attention from 30 feet away if he's only going to get closer to terrorize you? It makes no sense. But anyway, he speaks from 30 feet away, and she turns around and responds like this.
"Excuse me, ma'am." And I turned around and I literally yelled at him and I said, "Do not approach me." And he
Me too. I'd have beeline through sideways through some cars because, yo, that is kryptonite to a gentleman. He's not coming to bother you at all. And now he got to be looked at by everybody in this parking lot like he a damn creep. Like he's trying to do something to you. Yo, that would be embarrassing as hell. I would have just disappeared. That's crazy. Let's continue.
Immediately started going in the other direction, and I just kept saying it over and over and over. I said, "Do not approach me."
So he's going in a different direction, and you just still saying it. "Do not approach me. Do not approach me." He probably like, "Damn, oh God." This is crazy. Let's continue.
"Do not approach me." And he, of course, got what the F?
At some point, you will get mad because you're trying to go away and they keep still yelling, "Do not approach me." So it's like, yo, what the F is wrong with you, lady? Because you're sitting here thinking, yo, leave it alone. I'm leaving you alone. Why you still yelling? It's embarrassing. But guys, try your best not to get frustrated or so frustrated with crazy people that you point your anger at them, okay? They can't help it. They're sick in the mind and they need help. And unfortunately, they don't know it. It's not like bodily sickness, okay, where you have these symptoms and you check yourself into a doctor to talk to a professional about how you're feeling. Brain sickness is far different. People will be traumatic and seeing through a different lens than they did before the trauma. And they'll think that this is the correct way to see the world. And so they'll think that everybody has to bend to that. So even though we don't live in a world where men understand this, don't approach women, okay, she feels it's okay to hold you to this standard as if you know this, to yell it at you. Like you're violating a rule. It's her rule. She read a book. So don't get so frustrated that you're yelling at a crazy person. Just get out of their sight. All right? Lead them to their crazy. Let's continue.
like he started cussing and yelling like, what's your problem? And I looked at him and he actually then crossed a couple cars down from my car. He didn't come anywhere near me. He crossed a couple cars down from my car and was like, continuing to cuss and say, what's your problem? And I say, you do not approach women in a parking lot. I just kept saying, do not approach me. You do not approach women in a parking lot, like yelling it. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. Ever. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. And if a male does approach you, you need to turn around and use the strongest voice that you can possibly use with them. Don't be polite. They need to literally screw off. No male should be approaching you in a parking lot.
And because she feels that way, it's okay to yell at men when they approach her in a parking lot, to this degree. Now, I can guarantee you, if she needed something got down from up high, if she needed something open, a door open, or she needed protection, the men who come to her protection to open those doors to make her life easier, she wouldn't have a single problem with them. But other strange men who she don't need for nothing, they can't even approach her. Do you understand? So men, while you're trying to be gentle to some woman and stuff, thinking that she's a nice woman, she'll let you help her out. She'll let you do that stuff. But look at how she treats men on a norm. They don't really value you. They only see you for your utility. Do you understand? This person has a humongous sense of fear. Where it came from, I don't know, but she feels like it's okay to pour that out with anybody who comes around her. For what reason can't men talk to you in a parking lot? Make it make sense. Tell me what's happening to y'all in parking lots. You understand what I'm saying? You're in a parking lot, man. I could full well understand why men are not walking up to women in public anymore if they're getting stuff like this. Now, you have to worry about inboxes. If you send a woman an inbox, she may screenshot it, screen record it, post it up, embarrass you. But if you walk up to her in public, she may do the same. See, the problem is, a lot of women have this thing where if they don't like you, you are disgusting, you're a creep, you're a monster, you're a pervert. Do you understand? But if you do all those same actions that she already attributed to these other men, if she likes you, then it's fine. Do you understand? And so men have to go through this. If the woman doesn't like him, then he's shamed and treated like he's a bad person for even liking her, because she doesn't like him. I don't know why they can't just be simply polite. If you don't like the guy, turn him down in a gentle way. You don't need to be offended because he walked up to you, but they have this sense of entitlement, family. Not all women, but I'm saying some. You understand? They have this sense of entitlement that you're supposed to know if you're good enough before you even walk up. So if you come up to them, they'll take an assessment of you and say, why you even think you could talk to me? It bleeds into their ego when dudes are confident enough to make that approach. He thought you were pretty. That's why he stepped to you. It wasn't because he thought he could get you, because he thought you was on his level. He might have been telling himself, yo, she's out of my league, but I'm going to try anyway. As soon as you approach him, here you go. Why? I've been at work, and I've seen a guy say something to a woman that the next man said, and he's a creep, he's a pervert, he's making her feel uncomfortable at work. But that first guy, he said it, and she thought he was attractive. So she just giggled it off, and they sit there and flirted and talked for a bit. He said the literal same thing. You look nice in your jeans today. I've seen it. They will criminalize a man simply because they don't like him. And they're wondering, why don't men approach? Well, we got to know if you like us first. And then some of them have this whole rule right here. So I can understand why men don't want to holler. I think it's a very scary world for women, for men, because they're saying, don't walk up to us in public. Okay, well, in a parking lot specifically, and then they don't prefer you to really inbox them. So it's just a difficult task for men nowadays. All right, men, in the comments, let me know how you're approaching women nowadays, how you are, doing your thing nowadays, okay? And let us know if you still walk up to women in public, or if you do inboxing, and why. All right, let's try and answer this first lady's question as to why. Okay, many women would like this. I think we should still be doing it. I think social media ruined dating. You don't get to see a person's vibes or feel their vibes, get their charisma, charm, see them in action, see how they move, look into their eyes. You don't get to do none of that stuff on Facebook, social media. You see what I'm saying? So typically when you see somebody on social media, that is a good day, a good angle, a good camera with good editing. You understand? So to me, I just think that I love the organic days better before social media. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.